So I wanted to come on here and just talk about the Lindsay Clancy trial because everyone is talking about it like it's cut and dry. And on the surface, it seems like it is, but medically speaking, it's not. And I'm speaking as someone who has worked in the healthcare field before. So, and I'm probably not going to say something that those people, or that people who have worked in the healthcare industry before, will say. I'm probably not going to deviate from what they're saying. But like I said, on the surface, it does look like it's cut and dry, but it's absolutely not, right? So we already know that Lindsay Clancy is the woman who harmed her three children, and she was suffering from postpartum depression. And the argument is that she was on so many medications that that's what drove her to do it. So we have three elements of this argument. We have the postpartum depression severity argument, which if you talk to any woman who has been pregnant and has given birth, we know that postpartum is like it's underrated. Like it's not talked about as much as it should be. I've never been impregnated, but I knew that that was like a risk that can shy some women from ever wanting to give birth. Like postpartum depression is no joke. It is serious. It's always been serious. It's never not been serious. And you would think that because we have such medical we've made so much progress medically and with technology that the it would be better, like the effects would be like lessened, but it's not. So if you talk to most women who have had it, it's like it's more than just debilitating, right? So you have that argument. Next, we're just gonna dig into the medications that she was on, okay? Because I've sold some of this. And I have been on some of this. If, as you know, I have mentioned, I am a stroke survivor, and I have been dealing with some of the residual effects from my stroke. So let's just talk about some of the medications that she was on. She was prescribed a mix, like three different like tiers of medications, and like none of it is like lightweight. Okay, so. She was prescribed antidepressants, what they call it, benzos. So benzodiazepines, anti-anxiety medications, and then she was prescribed mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, and sleep aids and sedatives. Like 4 tiers of medications, and all of these are heavy duty: sertraline, Zoloft, fluoxetine, Prozac. Mirtazapine, that's a Remeron, that's a heavy duty one. Trazodone is a heavy duty one. These are antidepressants. Amitriptyline, heavy duty. Okay, now with all of these, it depends on the person and how they're going to be able to take this medication, and that does matter. This is why these medications really do make this case not cut and dry. Everyone wants to say, oh, she just harmed her life, she harmed her life. It's like you're lowballing, or you're minimizing the effect of postpartum depression, which a lot, throughout history, like at least over the last 20-30 years, we've heard of women harming their children due to that, which because men don't go through it, they think that it's an excuse, but it's literally debilitating because men don't experience childbirth, so they don't know how the whole process for 9 months is like, it robs women of a lot. Like, it's like you're growing something inside of you. I don't want to say a parasite, but it's something that feeds. A baby feeds off of the mother. And it robs the mother of calcium, of minerals, all of that. She has to eat for 2. She has to take damn near 2 sets of vitamins and minerals. That's why they have prenatal vitamins that they take, probably on top of whatever else they're taking. So I think pregnancy is always minimized because we have all these different issues in society about teenage pregnancy and out of wedlock birth rate. So it kind of makes it appear that pregnancy is not a big deal for women, but it actually is, and this trial is actually highlighting all the effects and elements and factors that of pregnancy that a woman goes through. So the whole thing is really deep, and is for people to just say, oh, well, she harmed her kids, so she should go to jail. It is more complicated than that. Okay, let's get back to that list. Okay, so the benzodiazepines that she was on, anti-anxiety medication, so she was prescribed those in addition to the antidepressants. Lorazepam, so that's Ativan. Clonazepam, these are heavy duties. Diazepam, Valium. We all know about Valium. Alprazolam, Buspar. Buspar is heavy duty. I have worked, when I worked in healthcare, I remember women who ran out of their Buspirone and couldn't get it, like from a pharmacy. I remember them breaking down on the phone because they ran out. That's how serious. So people who aren't in this world of the healthcare industry, who have never worked in it, who don't know anything about these medications, it's lightweight. You can't fathom what this is, but these are pharmaceuticals. This is a different grade of drugs. This is a power-packed punch in a small pill, okay? I know about some of these because I've been on and off. I don't like to stay on any of this stuff. This stuff is too much for me. It rewires your life. One of these pills can do a big job for you. But she was prescribed 12 to 13 different psychiatric medications. 12 to 13 in a what? In a 4-month period. So if she took maybe half of these within a 4-month period, that's insane. This list is something that you kind of prescribed over a year's time. Now, I've been prescribed some of these over the last 7 years. 7 years. She was prescribed this stuff over a 4-month period. That's enough to make anyone go ape. I mean, how can you describe, okay, let me finish off this list though, before I really try and drive home the impact of these medications, okay? The last one was hydroxyzine, heavy duty. These are benzos. We all know about benzos, okay? Then we go with the mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, Seroquel, which is quetiapine, lamotrigine, Zolpidem as a sleep aid, which is Ambien. These are the biggest medications on the market. These are all the popular heavy-duty ones that you see the commercial and they rattle off all the side effects and things like that. And the side effects are always your healthcare provider, when they prescribe this stuff to you and they're checking up on you, your psychiatrist who prescribes this stuff, or your primary care. I don't know if they can't prescribe all of these things. Typically, it is a psychiatrist that can prescribe this level of medication. They're going to ask you, are you having any, they're going to give you a questionnaire when you go to the doctor, and they're going to ask you, one of them is going to be any thoughts of self-harm or harming anyone or harming yourself. Because of the medication, that's a side effect of the medication. Now, you may not harm yourself, but you may be thinking about harming someone else. And that's a reality with a lot of these medications. That's a side effect of probably just about all of these medications, right? And can you imagine being prescribed? This is what, 12 to 13 of the heavy hitters. Like I said, these things that you're typically prescribed this over maybe years in your life, right? And you're off one or the other. Now, maybe she wasn't taking all of them at the same time, but sometimes as a patient, you have leftover medication, and so you kind of bounce off and on through some of this stuff. And if she was trying it, some of this stuff, we know it works. They say, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for it to work. So if she's taking something and maybe it didn't work, or maybe she switched up her medication, she's kind of layering medications. And for a layman person, a person who hasn't worked in the healthcare industry, layering and just taking some of this stuff, I'm gonna take this time and I'm not gonna take it here, I'm gonna take it there. You don't know what you're doing. This is all heavy duty medication. This is all antipsychotics, benzos, antidepressants. All of these are heavy duty. It's and it really depends on your system. And then this is supposed to help lessen the effect of postpartum depression. So these medications are basically a band-aid for what the real cause of the issue is. So if she's really going through postpartum depression, I would have to say, and I think they're gonna say now, that that is a different type of depression. That's not the same. That's not the same type of depression that, that may be frontal lobe or something. Like, as a stroke survivor, I had issues with the frontal lobe, so my issues were connected to that. But hers is connected to giving birth. So with natal depression, that's something different, because something has kind of robbed you internally of vital things that your body needs. That's something different. I wasn't robbed. I had like a brain traumatic effect in the brain, a blood clot to the brain, basically. But she had something that robbed her internally. So her depression is different. I can't relate to her depression, even if I had it, which was, frontal lobe stroke induced, But like I said, sertraline, for some people, sertraline is lightweight, but mirtazapine is not. Trazodone is not. Trazodone is it's a downer, and some of these things numb you out. At the very least, they take away your sex drive. Lorazepam, clonazepam, these are like heavy duty drugs. These are drugs that you can take at will. You're not as needed, like Valium, because they're so potent, they're so powerful, they do the job within 20-30 minutes. They're that intense. Or your doctor or write them out. And it says alprazolam and variations noted across multiple overlapping prescriptions. She was joked up. Absolutely. And as someone who went through that after I had issues with IBD, this was like probably almost 10 years ago. To have overlapping heavy-duty medications, you're a zombie at the very least. It can make you a zombie at the very least. But again, all of these are not curing the actual cause, which is the postnatal robbing, that issue, the postpartum issues that she has. These are a band-aid. They're trying to fix it, but she needs another. Probably, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a doctor for myself, only for myself, But, because I had to bring myself back from my stroke. But I can tell you with this is just a Band-Aid for whatever she was going through, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next point. So now you have the issue of the anti-natalist and the anti-lifers, or, people who are pro-choice argument with this whole situation. And here's the thing that I see. If she's found not guilty, this opens up the door. This changes the game for forever as far as men. As far as men are concerned, and we're just speaking of the United States, because we know how buck wild the United States is. It's opening up the door. We're just going to keep it real, because we know that Americans, you give Americans an inch, they take a eon, they take a planet worth of distance. And so if she is found not guilty with this, it's going to open up the door for a lot of women to do similar things, okay? A lot of women to do similar things and to blame it on medication. So also it's going to open up the door for a lot of women to go through this and blame it on postpartum, which is actually like a more believable thing. Actually, those two are very believable, As far as 3, here's the kicker that got me. Her husband said that there were situations, periods or events that happened between them that he witnessed, of where she was either harming the children, or she had thoughts, or she told him that she had thoughts of it. Why didn't he step in to remove the children? Like, how did it get this far? If one of your partners aren't mentally stable, why are you still allowing them to be around the children? And how did it graduate to this level? as a man, and those are your kids. It's different. And he looked a little bit too dry-eyed for me. It's one thing, okay, one of your children passed away, you have two other ones. You have to keep it together for the other two, and you probably love on the other two more. But all three of your children, and you in court, and he just is, dapper and matter of fact. No, to me that's a little bit of a side eye. That this was 3 years ago. I'm sorry, 3 years, losing three children in just 3 years. I'm sorry, within a 3-year period or a 2-year period or something like that. You should still be grieving. Every time I saw him, he was just pretty normal, like very matter of fact, voice is clear. So I don't know. It seems to me that also the fourth issue is that the door can be open for a couple to do this sort of thing and blame it on one of the, and try to gamble and blame it on one of the, and blame it on one of the parents and just say, well, this person was this way and that way. And so, this parent was ill. I witnessed it. I didn't stop it, or I didn't interfere as much as I could have, because most people are like, if they see anything once or twice, they're gonna keep you away from the children. They're not gonna still let you be around the children. And being medicated and things like that, people are gonna watch you. Like, there's antennas. People are gonna watch you from onset of the first event, typically. So how did it get to the point that you still allowed her to be around the children? You knew all the medication she was taking, and you as a man, your antennas didn't go up. So I think there's a lot to be looked at. Like I said, there's 4 elements of this for me. Number one, the postpartum depression, no joke. So that could be a cause. But she was treating it with a Band-Aid of 13 different psychiatric medications. That's a big deal. That cannot be overlooked. I know a lot of people think it's cut and dry, and this is because you all don't go to the doctor, and you need to, because this United States, has a horrible, horrible mental health crisis. We're in the middle of it. And these pills are probably what they're going to put you on when you go to the doctor. And most people, they will take this stuff, and they will cycle on. They'll get it. They'll be rebuilt, and then they will cycle off. And some people, they have to stay on longer. But like I say, sometimes you'll get on it, you'll help it, you'll do the work that your psychiatrist and your therapist request that you do, and then you will cycle off. Sometimes people are on longer, whatever the situation is. But the thing of it is that this was her Band-Aid. This was supposed to be her healing thing, and this is more of a Band-Aid. This was more of a Band-Aid, this wasn't a fix. This was a Band-Aid. And this is a crazy Band-Aid for a 4-month period for a woman who just had a baby. Like I said, I'm not a medical person, but I have experience with these medications. Not all of them, but I know I've sold probably all of them. Okay, and I know these medications are no joke, honey. They're no joke. I've been on a few of them. Some of them, because of my stroke, they're no joke. They're no joke. And because I know the severity and the potency of these medications, this is why this is not cut and dry. You all want to say, oh, throw her in jail, this and that. Nope, no. She deserves a trial. This is something that, especially in the United States, that people are going to have to face. They're going to have to come to the reality of mental health being an issue, the healthcare system that we have in place, which is heavily flawed, and people don't use it properly, and it's not wielded, or it's not structured to exactly be used in the best manner all the time. Okay, I'll say that. Next, the antinatalists. You already have a percentage of women out there who are anti-natalists, who are anti-life, or pro-choice, however you want to frame it. And that's going to be another issue. Those types of women create another environment as to where this sort of thing can happen again in the future. This is a test. This trial is a test. It's going to say a whole lot about how women are going to tread in the future, and how the healthcare industry is going to tread in the future as well. And it says that she is suing either the healthcare providers, or probably suing the medication companies, which the medication companies, they get sued all the time, so that's not a deal. But with her suing, if she sues all of these the providers, or the makers of all of these medications, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. Also, if she sues her caregivers, her psychiatrists, that's going to be a problem. And they saying, oh, well, it was a female that prescribed it to her. A lot of times, a patient asks for a same-sex provider. So if they have a therapist, they want a therapist that they can, quote unquote, so-called relate to. So they're going to ask for a female therapist. So you have to keep that in mind. This is a very interesting trial. A lot of people are really looking at this on the surface, and it's typically a lot of men, because you all don't have children. You don't know what is involved in the pregnancy process. You don't know anything about it. Some of you don't even know how children get here still. I mean, let's keep it a buck, right? But you all don't know the stages and the effects that it has on a woman. So she could get off of this, and she's going to change the game for women. I'm just letting you know. Men, you think women don't want to have your children now. They can have your children in the future. They can have your children, and they won't have to keep it if they don't want to. So like I said, I will do a part 2 for this video, because the effects of this, the post effects of whatever the trial decides, especially if she is not guilty, is going to change the game for children in America. I mean, in a different manner, because this is saying, I mean, in a completely different manner that the United States has periodically had to struggle with, but not like this. This in 2026, this is going to change the game, because it has too many major elements to it. It has the anti-natalist conversation. It has the healthcare in the pharmaceutical conversation in it, and it has a big spotlight on postpartum, and that spotlight is actually the one that is really extremely, like I said, it's underrated, and it's not given enough attention to it, but it's very important, and this will put a spotlight on it. You can walk around in ignorance and view this case in ignorance, like a lot of people are doing, but these are people who don't go to the doctor. Like I said, the healthcare system situation in America, it is a crisis. It's a full-blown crisis. We got people walking around saying all types of stuff, doing all types of stuff, harassing people. People are angry, and a lot of people need a lot of the medications on this list. Actually, they need it. They need at least one or two. Most of Americans need at least one or two on this list. Okay, so we in the middle of a healthcare crisis, and this is gonna put a spotlight to it too. Don't use this case as a reason for why you don't want to get on medication and you know you need it. I'm just going to say that, because a lot of you all need it. A lot of you need it. You need it. Just keep your eyes peeled. Like I said, there are 4 major parts to this trial, and this is one to watch, because there's a lot that is involved, or redirect the direction of where this country is going, especially for women and for children. So this is loaded. This is very interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. And I will be back with a part 2 if anything else interesting comes up, or if a new thought comes up. But I pretty much laid it out in this video, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.